Hello and welcome to the Join Dota League Season 3 here on HeflaTV 2. Right now we're going to have a best of 2 series between neXt Gaming and Central of Fear. And well, before we get really into that, I'm going to introduce our casters. I'm Grandis V, and I will be joined by Banshee.
Hello, everyone. As let's face it, we've got a pretty awesome game coming up right here. Both these two pretty known-well teams in terms of tier 3 teams coming out. neXt, a Romanian side, very, very good. As in, they've even beaten some of tier 2 and very often punch way above their weight. In the meantime, Central of Fear, possibly the best, I think, Turkish team. Yep. Just making sure I've remembered. And, you know, they always do pretty well in tournaments as well. I would have to give the favorite to be neXt, but at the same time, I'm definitely going to be expecting a very close game.
Yeah, for sure, both of these teams should be bringing something interesting to the table, but Central of Fear go ahead and pick themselves up a first pick Tinker.
Now, that's interesting as a first pick. We don't usually see that so much unless a player on their team is really good with the Tinker. As I'm guessing someone like Fnatic with Excalibur would have picked up Tinker first. But apart from that, unless you've got a super-duper Tinker player, generally it's just very easy to counter if you know what you're doing, especially with the fast-paced pushing metagame we're currently in.
That said, Tinker is great at counter-pushing with the March of Machines and can be very difficult if he's able to get up a good start, get his Boots of Travel, Soul Ring, Blink Dagger up at a decent timing. And, well, I don't know, he can be very scary to play up against. In lane, Storm Spirit's not going to be able to do very much up against this Tinker, which is one of the next pickups of neXt. But later on in the game, Storm Spirit is almost unparalleled in his ability to catch the Tinker out while he's split farming across the map. Pretty much up there with your Clockwork catching out the Tinker solo. So I definitely like this pick coming out from neXt Gaming. Picking it up early to make sure that Central of Fear won't be able to ban it out later. They also get themselves up the Skywrath Mage, which is no big surprises there. Lycan's still in the pool if Central of Fear want to go for that.
Yep, still a lot of possibilities to pick up, although I will say that I prefer the Tinker in the Tinker versus Storm Spirit matchup, but like what you said, he's very good at catching out that Tinker. I wouldn't even say later on, as soon as he hits that level 6 and with a few more heroes be able to come in, especially that Skywrath Mage, they can easily pick off that Tinker, and he's going to have to be super careful.
Yeah, for sure. I don't know, once both of them get up their core items, Storm Spirit's definitely favored, especially if he builds into the Orchid, which I'd like to see from neXt Gaming. I think it just offers a lot more control, and it's kind of necessary up against the Tinker. Central Fear, in fact, are going to go ahead and pick themselves up a Viper here. Not a huge fan of this pick. I think some other heroes would have been a lot more higher priority, and you could have been able to pick them up here, and you potentially would have the Viper available later on in the draft. But then again, it's still a really solid hero for winning your lanes. I'm assuming this is just going to be your safe lane Viper building towards that mech.
Yep, Viper, a very solid hero just in general. Ability to take over lanes and brilliant early game in terms of just, you know, winning a lane. But either way, we are going to be seeing the bans coming out, and with the Skywrath Mage and Storm Spirit already picked up with that huge amount of silence that's going to be coming out, especially with Storm Spirit again being able to pick up the Orchid. There's no real bans that are desperately needed from the Central of Fear. Probably ban out the Shaman if they don't want to pick him up themselves, and maybe get rid of one or two of the hard carries.
I think you ban out the Shadow Shaman and Lycan, since they have first pick coming out of the next phase, but they'll go ahead and ban the Pugna. I don't know, I think Lycanthrope's a little bit scarier to deal with as a safe lane hero. We'll have to see.
Wow, I actually just noticed that somehow the the Lycan managed to get through the first 4 picks, as in, when was the last time we ever saw that? Generally, he's banned pretty quickly just because of how good he is at pushing.
Yeah, usually you expect neXt to ban him out, usually in place of the Brewmaster and let him through the pool. But yeah, with the first pick Tinker, that wasn't the option. neXt prioritized the Storm Spirit over it to make sure that they had a way to manage the Tinker once he was able to get online. So, yeah, an interesting choice. The Clockwork ban coming out from Central Fear definitely makes sense to me. Another hero that's great at catching out the Tinker and combos very well with the Skywrath Mage. Just a lot of team synergy coming out from that pick, and would have fit their offlane fairly nicely. Even though up against the Viper, probably can't expect more than just getting experience.
Yeah, because we are actually going to see that Clockwork banned out as well, and I can understand that ban to some extent, especially with the Tinker. It's another lockdown ability, but at the same time, it just feels like shutting the barn door after the horse has already left. They've already got the Storm Spirit and the Skywrath Mage. They've already got the ability to hunt down that Tinker.
Yeah, for sure. It depends on how many or how much priority Central Fear put on this Tinker pick, and if they have any fallback mechanisms. Currently, they really don't. Viper is going to be very useful up until about 30 minutes or so in the game. The mechanism and just building him tanky is going to be nice, but later on, unless we see something a little bit unconventional where he builds into more damage-oriented items, plus potentially a butterfly, maybe even a Daedalus, if he really needs to pump out that damage, we're not going to be seeing Viper being able to carry this game, and a lot of the game is going to be put on the Tinker's shoulders to carry. We'll just have to see how this draft is going to pan out for them, but I definitely think saving the Tinker with that Clockwork Band is definitely worthwhile. Next, please go ahead and pick up the Earthshaker. Lycan's still there.
Yeah, but the Earthshaker, another good hero, really jumping into the meta with the ability to, counter those pushers. And again, he's got a very long-range stun, the possible to possibly catch out the Tinker. They've got a lot of tools right now on neXt Please side to start taking down this Tinker, in the first 20 to 30 minutes. Once he starts getting his Blink Dagger and all the rest of his items, it gets a lot harder even for these heroes. But until then, we are going to see a Lion picked up on Central Fear, which is a very interesting pick. Kind of fallen off in terms of popularity, but still a very good solid support. Got 2 stuns, got Mana Drain, got a nuke.
Yeah, I don't know, he's kind of a non-committal pick in the fact that he's kind of a jack of all trades. He offers a lot of good lockdown, a lot of good burst damage, but when it comes to pushing, really doesn't do all that much. But up against the Skywrath Mage and Storm Spirit to some extent, being able to burst them down is always a great thing. Storm Spirit's a little bit trickier because he can disjoint the finger with his Ball Lightning, but if you're able to stun him up and then hex him and then Finger of Death, Storm Spirit can fall very quickly, and eventually will definitely need a BKB, presumably after his Orchid. But next, please, they're going to go ahead and pick themselves up the Slark here, another hero that can catch out the Tinker, and while this Lion could also be some fairly easy food for the Slark.
10 seconds to go.
Yeah, because, I am liking this play coming out from neXt Please, or this draft coming out. It's very aggressive, very gank heavy. They realize that generally when you pick up a Tinker, you're putting a lot into that pick. I think you don't just pick him up because he sucks all of the farm out of the map, meaning that you need 4 of the heroes that it's a 4 protect 1 strategy whenever you pick up a Tinker. And neXt Please Gaming, they've realized that, and they're just simply going, we're going to pick up 4 or 5 heroes that can just kill the Tinker.
Yeah, I mean, if you're investing that much into him, it's definitely worthwhile. They're going to go ahead and pick up the Mirana on the side of Central Fear. This Mirana pick's kind of interesting. We don't have the traditional setup for the arrow, but Lion, with the Impale as well as the Axe, can do the job fairly nicely. Although having something else, potentially even a Shadow Demon, would be beneficial for them.
10 seconds to go.
Yeah, Pers. The Mirana, it's a good pick, but I'm just feeling right now that Central Fear, if their positioning and map control is not perfect, they're just going to keep repeatedly getting caught out after the first 10 minutes.
For sure. I think neXt Please Gaming have a great lineup in order to deal with what Central Fear are bringing to the table. Yeah, it's going to be a lot down to execution. Central Fear are kind of on the razor's edge. If they do get this Tinker killed once or twice in the landing stage, they get his Ancients blocked early on, neXt Please are going to be in a very good situation for just keeping control over this game, because, as aforementioned, the Viper's not going to be carrying very much, and neither is the Mirana. Both are very single target heavy, and well, with the Slark and Storm Spirit, very elusive heroes that don't really care that much about the slows coming out from the Viper, and unless they get chain locked down by the Lion and Mirana, they're going to be able to run rampant, and eventually they'll probably be picking themselves up a BKB, and at that point, if they pick off the Tinker, it's going to be very hard for Central Fear to counteract that.
Yeah, because we are going to be going into the last bans, and Central Fear, they do need, well, possibly an offlaner, but it looks like they were expecting this Mon to be the offlane, and they banned out the Wraith King instead. Wraith King would have been an okay pickup, but have left them in an interesting situation where they want to go for an aggressive tri-lane and keep that Wraith King on solo support, solo farm, or put the Imran in their off-lane position, which we don't usually see her played in. But either way, we are going to the last ban, and what does Central Fear ban out right now?
Up against neXt Please, I'm assuming that they're going to need an off-lane pick here. I wouldn't mind the Darkseer, although it doesn't combo great with the rest of their team. But they will go ahead and ban out the Nature's Prophet, which would shore up neXt Please late game quite a bit. I think just your Centaur or even your Tidehunter. Actually, Tidehunter I think is probably your best hero here, is they haven't taken him out of the pool just yet, and on the dire side he'll have fairly easy access to his Ancients, so even if he gets destroyed in lane by the Viper, he'll still have a fallback mechanism, and more than anything just gives you a great teamfight ultimate to set up, and I don't know, give an opening for the Storm Spirit and Slark to jump in. And there you go, Tidehunter pick by neXt, please.
Radiant.
Yeah, but I was about to suggest that the Tidehunter very nice in terms of just, locking down team fights and removing any possibility of Central Fear being able to try and bring this early. Because as soon as Tide hits that level 6 on his off lane, there's not really very much you can do in terms of team fight versus team fight, and neXt please has a far better ganking lineup.
Yeah, I don't know, Central Fear need to make a lot of space on this map and split the focus of neXt please, because in a 5-on-5 engagement, I think neXt please are stronger, and, well, even in the solo pickoffs, I think they have the advantage. They just have great ways to get the jump on individual heroes, and it's going to be very interesting for Central Fear in order to do this, but last pick Lone Druid, I'll let you handle this one.
I was not expecting that pick at all, and I feel it is a little bit greedy. I understand what they're trying to do. They're trying to put that pressure on the early game. As soon as he starts getting those levels in the bears when he's in the off lane, he can just simply start pushing down towers like nothing else. But I feel that with the Tinker there, he's not going to get the right amount of farm that he needs. As in, Lone Druid is one of those heroes who doesn't need his farm. He needs that secondary bear to become effectively the 6th hero in the game.
I think with the heroes that Central Fear have, you will be able to find at least a little bit of room, but the Tinker is definitely going to either make good use of his jungle or allow the Lone Druid to do so. I think with 3 lanes as well as a jungle, that's plenty of farm if they have map control for both of these heroes, but I think that's really the biggest problem, because if neXt please are able to strike early and hard, which they definitely have the tools to do so, the map control is going to start falling for Central Fear, and that's a situation where you have a Lone Druid and or a Tinker that start getting behind very heavily. That said, with perfect execution, we still could see a win by Central Fear, but I just think that neXt please lineup is a little bit easier to execute. I'll go ahead and introduce the Radiant teams to start us off, as we have Central Fear with Glassniki on the Tinker with the offlane Lone Druid, going to be handled by RNT, the safe lane. Going to be handled by, Nocta is playing on the Viper. It's hard to read. Mamaka Club on the Lion, and Daywalker on the Mirana.
In the meantime, opposite side, probably with a better lineup and probably the favorite for this best of 2 series, we have Red Light on Slark. Doesn't have Green Light and Amber Light with him this time, sadly. K&O on the Storm Spirit, Illusionist with a capital T on the Earthshaker, District 12 on the Scarith Mage, and Synergy with an emphasis on the G on the Tidehunter.
Definitely. Well, to start us off, we're not having any huge aggressive movements coming up from either of these teams. Just kind of chilling on their own side of the map, making sure that the enemies don't get control over the jungle. To start us off, we have a little bit of scouting coming up from the Spirit Bearer. We'll see that they are going to go defensive with the Scarith Mage, Slark, as well as Earthshaker, and he'll just eventually back that one off to safety. Not sure if he was the one to drop the ward or the Spirit Bearer was. I believe he just had that ward on the Spirit Bearer that just got placed.
Yep, very nice positioning there, but it is going to get immediately dewarded, even before the creeps manage to spawn, making it a pretty good win there for neXt.
Yeah, and at least at the early portions of the game, Lone Druid's going to have a hard time to find farm. I don't know. Well, that said, he's trying to pull the creeps away. If he's successful in doing so, he'll secure himself some fairly easy farm under tower. Lone Druid is possibly one of the best heroes at last hitting. Tinker got a better block compared to the Storm Spirit, so definitely early on Tinker going to be favored in this matchup, especially considering that Storm Spirit is going to be locked down with the laser, and then also he has to get very close to the creep wave in order to CS, so March of Machines later on is also going to zone him up fairly heavily once the points start coming up for the Tinker.
Yep, Tide's going to get harassed out there and on the bottom lane, but I feel he's going to have an okay lane on this bottom. As long as he doesn't get caught too far out with a huge amount of harass, then a stun, then he should be more than fine in this lane. Meanwhile, in the mid lane, I probably expect Tinker to win this in the early game, just because that laser, it even hurts Storm Spirit.
Yeah, for sure. I don't know, the Tidehunter needs to be very careful, however, especially with just the 1 point up into Kraken Shell. I'd like to see him start stacking Ancients, and it looks like he's going to do so, potentially stack and then move over to check out the 2-minute rune. But for now, the creep wave is pushing in, so he'll secure himself that experience. So under tower, he should be fine. But after the pulls coming out from the Radiant, they should be forcing the Tidehunter back a little bit. Both of these teams, neither of their Ancients have been blocked, and both teams have decent lineups at abusing the Ancient stacks that they could have with the Tidehunter as well as the Tinker. So we'd like to see that be larger point of contention, I feel. These supports should probably just invest a little bit of extra gold. That said, Scarlet Mage and Earthshaker going to smoke up, presumably going towards this Tinker in mid.
Yeah, but this is actually a very powerful early this early on. You get that fissure off, you get the arcane bolt, or even the concussive shot, as I'm going to try and say the words correctly, as ooh, they get an invis and a double damage. This is painful.
Yep, it wasn't spotted out by Radiant Ward either, so while the Earthshaker's going up top and Scarlet Mage still hasn't completely decided, they're going to gank up this lone Druid. And with the Invis, Illusionist is just in a wonderful position to spot out these movements coming out from RNT, and now they come in with their Slark as well. Fissure, the Arcane Bolt, the Pounce. RNT is so dead and should be giving up her first blood, and Red Light gets the last hit, so a lot of early gold given the way of this safe lane farming Slark.
Yeah, that was... There was nothing Lone Druid could do right there. They just didn't have vision of that area, meaning he had no idea where the two supports were. And, you know, expecting your opposing team's Earthshaker picked up an Invis rune. It's not the most common thing to happen.
Yeah, definitely hard times for a Lone Druid, and that's really the cost of getting your Observer Ward being dewarded. He probably assumed that both of the supports were just backing off into jungle to stack, maybe get some pulls off. He was playing defensively already, but nobody expects the double damage as well as the invis to come out for both of those supports smoked up.
Nobody expects the Earthshaker in position.
Absolutely. Well, the Mirana as well as the Lion haven't really accomplished very much on this battle lane. Storm Spirit dies to the Tinker. I did not expect that happening, but with Tinker with 2-2-0 as his starting build, that laning stage is going to be a lot easier for him. And now Storm Spirit, I don't know, giving up that kill to Tinker is very important for Central Fears. This Tinker is going to be pivotal in the way that this match is going to turn out for them. They'll get the mechanism on their Viper, but Lone Druid's not going to come online for some time, and, well, this Tinker, he needs to be the one to really pick up the slack.
Yeah, the Tinker, but at the same time, he is going to get some awesome farm here in the middle, and just getting that kill with the Storm Spirit just playing a bit too aggressive, a bit too risky with the low health there, it does mean he's going to just keep exploding ahead in terms of farm. Currently 18-2, although it is the Viper currently who's last hitting the best. Just getting free farm against this Tidehunter of all things.
Yeah, Tidehunter really can't put much pressure onto the Viper in lane. If he comes up, he takes too much harass. So he'll just be content at soaking experience, but then again, Viper is one of the best last-hitting heroes in the entire game. The Scarlet Mage and Earthshaker are kind of in limbo between the top lane as well as mid, not fully deciding where they're going to go. And Lone Druid's just completely abandoned his offlane, going straight into the jungle. So Tier 1 tower is going to be forfeit by Central of Fear. This is a lot of early game advantage given the way of neXt plays in this offlane, and we'll have to see if it's going to be worth it or if they're going to be able to get this Tinker boots of travel early enough because of that trade.
Well, the Tinker, he's got boots, he's got a Null Talisman and his bottle and about 500 gold, so he's not too far off it at the moment. Needs around about 1,000 more gold at the moment.
Yeah, I'd expect him to get the Soul Ring first, but then again, he hasn't been stacking the Ancients. I really don't like this play coming out from the Tinker, although he can't farm them quite yet with not very many points up in the March of Machines. By the time he does have level 8 or so, he will be able to, and if you have a quad stack sitting for you, that can accelerate your boots of travel timing incredibly. Yeah, so not a huge fan of that. This Lion and Mirana really haven't accomplished very much across the map. I would have liked to see them play a little bit more aggressively. I haven't even seen an arrow thrown up by the Mirana. Daywalker might have gone for one on the Tidehunter, but for now, support Mirana really needs to hit those arrows in order to feel effective. Currently, she's sitting behind the Tinker, making sure Keanu doesn't make any super aggressive moves. Yeah,
but is the issue you do have with the Lion plus Mirana combo, and just the stun is good as we do see the arrow coming out. It's in fact going to hit him. The Storm Spirit gets nailed in the face, and that's going to be another dead, but the Fissure is perfect. Not going to be enough to save him, though. Yeah, with the maxed out laser on the Tinker, just so much pure damage going the way of the Storm Spirit. And he doesn't even have his level 6 yet, couldn't get out of there, and well, the Earthshaker also needs to be careful. The damage barrage coming out for the Tinker is just too much to handle at this point. And, well, since he doesn't have any stacks, and now, oh, the arrow lands on Illusionist, and this Mirana picking up so much steam, not even rockets necessary with 4 points up into the laser. Yeah, he drops a March, it's only level 2, however, he's silenced up, pulled back into the Storm Spirit. Mirana leaps forward, trying to get the damage off as she's helping the Tinker bottling up. Will he be able to make it out alive? The Arcane Bolt's not going to do enough damage, the Scarlet Mage is going to die. Daywalker looking for another arrow, will land a
Keanu. Ooh, that's a butt clench moment as they're looking for the kill onto the Storm Spirit. He does not have his level 6. Still, as no kills happen in that middle lane, looking for the root coming out from the bear. He does have Entangle available, but now the Slark comes in the pounce, and Daywalker is going to give up a return kill. 4-2 is our kill score, and they might be able to get the bear as well. A lot of golden experience being fed away at the very end of the day. Tinker still survived and managed to get himself 2 kills in that skirmish. 3-0-1 on the Tinker. I think that Central Fear are going to be happy with that, although losing those last 2, the bear as well as Samrana at the end, was not in the favor of Central Fear.
Yeah, because we do see that Tinker is now pretty close to his boots of travel, round about 400 goldish, and you know, that's just expanded his farm. And at this point, he might get 8-minute boots of travel, which is very good, especially if he's got the Null's Talisman and Bottle as well. This wasn't just a straight rush.
Yeah, I don't know, this is a very peculiar build coming out from the Tinker, one that I haven't seen ever. With the 4 points up in the laser and the 2 points up in the heat-seeking missile, you usually go 2-2-4 if you're going to go for that early aggressive start, or you go 4-4-0. But honestly, I quite like it. The single target damage coming out from laser scales incredibly well, and better, in fact, than the missile, and it's just helped him so much in the lane. Slark, he's on a blood mission as he has the double damage rune looking for this lone druid. Oh no, lone druid needs to be careful as the bear might get ganked as he's purely TPing out. He should be just fine, but the Tinker, a juicier prize is there, but with Daywalker in reserve, they won't be able to go for that.
Yeah, Slark, though, is having a pretty good game himself. He's currently at 40 last hits, just picked up his Midas only 7 minutes in, plus Treads. That was not a rush Midas. That was actually a pretty casual one coming out. So he's pretty farmed up himself with 2 kills as well. And he's looking for more. He wants even more farm, and he's just going to be farming up this jungle pretty quickly.
Yeah, I don't know, this Slark is getting off the ground, and it's going to be pretty scary for Central Fear to deal with. Honestly, I would have liked a more aggressive item choice coming out from Red Light a little bit better, but this will secure him an earlier Scotty or similar items if he wants to go for them. He'll definitely have the Scotty BKB timing better, and I guess if he can pick up the Treads as well as Midas at sub 8 minutes in with a couple of casual items on top of that, more power to you, go ahead. With the 1 kill as well as the first blood. Definitely going to be the choice from Red Light. As he goes up top and potentially looking for this lone druid, he's just not had a great game. As RNT's looking for the pounce coming out from Red Light, tries to juke it, but the pounce is going to be on the mark. He gets a root onto Red Light to stop that, but it's purged off eventually. With the TP support coming in, Red Light will be forced to pop his ultimate and run back.
Yeah, but he's just going to get out there. I don't think he needs to pop his ultimate, but at the same time, I guess better safe than sorry, as it's not the biggest ultimate early-ish to pop on. Only 50-second cooldown.
Yeah, I think more important is the mana cost, but with the Basilius on him, it's going to be negated. While in mid, we have the slows going away to Tinker. Zip Zap coming up from the Storm Spirit, but he's going to be hexed up. Follow-up. They only need a little bit more damage. Does he have the laser off of cooldown? No, he doesn't. Still coming up in 2 seconds, but he's diving under the tower. The arrow not even going to be necessary. Getting from the run as the right clicks are enough, and Tinker 3-0-2, just skating away from death, and he's going to find himself a 9 minutes boots of travel. He's going to want that soul ring pretty quickly afterwards, but with the way this game has been going for him, he's definitely going to have it. He's not farming as fast as you'd usually like to see your Tinkers get as far as CS is concerned, but in the kill department, definitely in a good position. Arrow to fly. Oh, Lucianus just barely avoids that one. Boots of travel are coming in. The Fissure, it's not going to kill it in time, but the Arcane Bolts as well as Kagasu's Shallots are going to go out there, but he has plenty of backup. The Storm Spirit zipping in very deep, pulling back the Tinker in. Will they be able to get the kill? They will, and that's a killing spree going the way of the Earthshaker, and now the Lion under tower. They're going to force back as lead forward by Daywalker. The Viper's also joining the fray as District Troll, trying to TP out. He won't be able to make it. Another toxic damage will be there. And, well, 1-for-1 trade so far, but definitely good for Next Please Gaming, forcing out the rotation from the Viper as well as killing the Tinker.
Yep, as in, I'd say that was a very favorable for Next Please right there. They picked up that Tinker, which is very important. He didn't have that much gold in him because he'd only just picked up those boots of travel and TP'd through to mid, but still, slowing down his farm in any way possible is what's needed, as we are starting to see this Slog just farming up like a boss. It's in fact 1k gold further ahead than anyone else in the game right now.
Yeah. I don't know, the Storm Spirit's not getting off to a good start at all. He's died 3 times in lane and just has his brown boots available, which is problematic for them. It's going to put a lot of pressure on the Slark in order to perform in this mid-game, but he definitely can do it. And while the other heroes, although the Viper has what you'd expect him to, it's not really going to be enough to carry this game so far as they wrap around on the Tinker. The Kiilstofte show comes out. Rana ultimate's on the ground. They have detection. They have a sentry, and he's just going to be blown to shreds. The Tinker's going to be first to die as they pull back the Viper under the tower, under the sentry. They don't have enough damage, and Keanu might be in a little bit of trouble. Zip Zap down to the low ground, and, well, he will be just fine. So Tinker dying very close to that other death, and now 3-2-2, the kill score of the Tinker.
Yeah, as in we are seeing this thing starting to get shut down a little bit as that level 6 on Stormthrower is super
concussive
crucial.
shot in mid with the pounce. The arrow is going to be disjointed, or rather purged off by Red Light. The Tidehunter comes in with the Ravage, lands on a whole lot of heroes, or most of the heroes. All the ones that were there. Mirana as well as Viper going to be clipped by that. And, well, another 2 kills going to tie up the kill score 6-6, but I think that neXt Please are in a great position for this game, as after those deaths, the Tinker is now even in farm with the Stormthrower, now has his Power Treads and a couple of casual items on top of that, and will start working towards his Orchid. Despite getting the Boots of Travel, Tinker doesn't get online really until he gets his Blink and Soul Ring, which are still quite far away coming out from this Tinker.
Yeah, but a little bit of a shame. He got a super fast Boots of Travel, but after that, just unable to find the farmers. He was constantly ganked for the last few minutes. And all the while, you know, Slark, he has been involved in those ganks, but he also has a Midas. And a Midas is a very good farming tool, so I've been told.
Yeah, I know. If you can win fights with Midas, you're definitely winning game, or at least this hero is having a wonderful time. Speaking of Midas, his Lone Druid picks one up for himself. So, Central Fear, they have tools to help turtle out this game and get this Tinker and Lone Druid huge, but I fear for this mid-game coming out from them, and will they be able to weather the storm coming out from neXt Please Gaming? We'll have to see, as down in bottom, the smoke is popping the arrow. Lands on Illusionist, he might be able to get this kill, but the Fissure comes out before he dies. Eventually, Lion will be able to get that one. Starts on mana draining the Tidehunter as the Viper Strike also goes his way. Synergy tries to TP out as Pounce comes out from Red Light. Red Light going to be able to focus down the Lion. Tinker drops some Marching Machines on the ground as the retreat is sounded by neXt Please Gaming, so a support for support trade, as well as the smoke coming up for neXt Please. Central Fear were able to get out of there relatively unscathed.
But right now, we are about to see the real power of picking up this Lone Druid. Yes, he's had a terrible game so far. He's basically got boots and more boots. Although he has picked up a Midas, so not too bad for him. But at the same time, in between those boots and more boots, we also have the Spirit Bear that does huge amounts of damage to his tower, already down to low health. And that's basically just singly the Spirit Bear doing all the damage here.
Yeah, well, neXt Please, they arrow up the Tidehunter. Will they be able to commit to this, or are they going to go for it? He does purge off the stun coming up from the Impale as the Sword Spirit jumps in. The Scarlet Mage ulti going to land on a lot of heroes. It is split, but they should be able to get RNT as well as the Lion yet again. The Tidehunter dying to the Marching Machines. He will fall. Tinker getting the last hit there. Echo Slam committed to the Viper. Pounce going to be off the mark, but I don't think it's going to be off Sentry on the ground. Will they have enough damage? Body Box coming up from the Earthshaker. Now the slow from the Storm Spirit. They should be able to get this kill, or will they? One more auto attack from Earthshaker secures it as Daywalker kind of caught between a rock and a hard place. Nobody really has a lot of mana, so Daywalker should be just fine. I'm not sure why that shop opened up there. But in the end, fairly even? I don't know. neXt Please committed very hard for those last couple of kills.
Yeah, but I would say that was a very nice without that last arrow coming out from Daywalker, which basically threaded through all the enemy heroes to hit that Slug, who was just on the right amount of health to get taken down. Without that arrow, that would have been clearly in neXt Please' favor, but with that Slug there, I'd say that was mostly equal.
Yeah, Slark has picked himself up a Blink Dagger. Honestly, I probably would have preferred this towards the Midas earlier on with the way that he's been playing. But now that he has both of them and still leaps and bounds ahead as far as net worth is concerned. Tinker's managed to find his Soul Ring in mid lane Illusionist under the guise of Invis, the second Invis of the game, looking for the Fissure opportunity on Tinker, but he'll go back to base. Illusionist not going to cancel that TP.
Yep, and both these two teams just like kind of chilling back for a moment, just taking a moment to catch their breath, but even with that Earthshaker, he does want to go, and he's got that Fissure, he's got that Invis, and Tinker might be in bits of trouble.
Yep, as the zipping comes out from Keanu and the Enchant Totem, one more auto attack from the Storm Spirit will secure it. Illusionist backed out very wisely as the Marching Machines might have been able to get both of those kills, but in the end they both retreat. As down in bottom, Lion falls pretty much solo up against the Slark. Scarlet Mage was also there to offer a little bit of support.
Yep, this Slark is just doing huge amounts of work right now. Still, 2k ahead of the second highest farmer in the game, which is on that Tinker. And sadly, Tinker, he is only roughly equivalent
Blink
to
Pounce
Slark.
onto Daywalker with the extra damage coming out from the Dark Pack. He should be able to get this kill. Very short range arrow. He's under his ultimate to chase down Daywalker, and another Dark Pack gets the kill. And Slark, he should be able to make it out of there alive. He has the Blink available, so he could disjoint a Viper Strike if he needs to. But in the end, just a slippery little fish, able to go aggressively into the enemy woods and come out with a kill.
You know the drill.
Yep, very nice stuff right there. Just regenerating back all his health, and he's ready to go once more. You know, his mind is on cooldown, so let's go kill some heroes. And that's That's basically what he's doing right now. He's not so much farming creeps. He's only got 66 last hits in this game right now, so far, 15 minutes in. But he's farming heroes, 6, 1, and 4.
I mean, 66 with the amount of rotations that he's done is definitely respectable. Yeah, and he's just farming like a madman. Lone Druid gets himself the tier 1 tower up in top as all the action is going on in his jungle. Still only sitting on the boots and boots, potentially saving up for a Radiance, although I'm not a huge fan of that choice. I think an item that would help you fight a little earlier, as the Storm Spirit falls in mid, diving onto the Tinker, and he gets a dominating spree coming out from the Storm.
Yeah, but lovely stuff right there as picking up that Storm. The Storm and Tinker really has been a back and forth mashup in this mid. As I would say, Tinker won the laning stage, but as the gank came in as that level 6 and the fact that Storm comes online far earlier than the Tinker, we just saw he got huge amounts of ganks from this Tinker. But he's still got that damage, he's still got that possibility to nuke someone down. It looks like this tier 1 tower is going to go down pretty easily.
Or will be denied as Blink before it comes in. The Echo Slam commanded 3 heroes with the Ravage to follow up on 4. Now they silence up the Tinker. He's inside the trees. He's going to die one way or another. The Lone Druid is still alive in all of this. There is going to die as Red Light picks himself up a triple kill. Lion, the only survivor, and the Pounce forward. He should follow this down. The Pounce didn't actually leash, and now with the stun, oh, he's caught between too many heroes. The gosh, the Earthshaker gets it with the fissure. And all said and done, a team wipe in the favor of neXt, please. Their team fighting power just coming out huge there. Earthshaker should not be able to get a 3-man Echo Slam like that before Blink, but he came out strong, and with the follow-up from Synergy, amazing.
Yeah, I will say the main issue we saw right there is they don't really have very much vision in the enemy jungle with where they were trying to push us, and they kind of ran towards... I'll press the right button to draw. Towards here, but at the same time, they had no wards in this area. I mean, they had no idea where their opposing team were. They basically ran past a huge, dark, scary forest, and neXt please was there.
Yeah, pretty much. They came from all angles. We had the Earthshaker coming from here, the Tidehunter from here, and then the rest of the team just walked straight up the ramp. Yeah, I don't know. It ended up just vastly in the favor of neXt, please. And this Slark, his net worth is actually ridiculous for 17 minutes in the game. I'll go ahead and take this time to look at the graphs for the first time after that large team fight. And, well, it was fairly close up until this point, but now it's going to start dipping down in the favor of neXt, please, with about a 6,000 gold lead after the graphs update and similar experience lead, almost 7,500. Tinker finally gets his Blink Dagger at 18 minutes, but 3 minutes behind the prescribed standard timing, and I don't know, with the Storm Spirit as well as the Slark, they have the tools to catch him out even when he's blinking in the trees. By no means is that going to mean he's safe.
Yep, as I will also note something else that happened during that team fight. A little bit of a mistake coming up from Void. Not Void. Completely the wrong game in Hero. I'm talking about the Lone Druid, where he kind of ran out of range, so his bear got disarmed right as the last hit on this tier 1 tower would have come out.
Yeah. Did you see if it was denied? I don't know. We're going to see the Lone Druid Tinker synergy as Tinker joins the fray, teleporting that bear. I don't know. I'd like to see that be used a little bit more once Spirit Bear gets a couple more items under his belt. But for now, it's still Brown Boots and Midas for Lone Druid, saving up his gold.
Yeah, but he does have a little bit of gold. Looks like he's trying to go for a Radiance, possibly. Which, is that a smart idea, considering how poorly this current game is going?
I would have liked the Maelstrom a little bit better, or at least upgrade your boots. Get those phase boots on the bear. I think it just helps you so much more. Yeah, I think I would have liked phase Maelstrom better. And then an Orb of Venom as well.
Yep, as we do see that Blink Dagger is gonna use it.
Yeah, and he catches out too. They don't have the biggest follow-up damage. The arrow lands onto Red Light. He's going to be maxed up, but here comes the Ravage from the Tidehunter. Catches out the majority of the enemy team, and now the Earthshaker Echo Slam catches out the other two. Lone Druid is still alive, but Tinker is going to be picked off as they catch out Lone Druid inside the trees. He's silenced up, brings the bear to body block a little bit, a little bit of that damage, but not enough. As 4 heroes for 1, Earthshaker the only fatality on neXt please side.
Yeah, lovely move right there coming out from neXt please, as once again they win a decisive team fight with that Earthshaker fissure coming out and just blocking off 2 heroes and immediately turning the fight into a 3 versus 5.
Yeah, absolutely. Lone Druid is eventually going to pick up the Maelstrom. It definitely would have helped you last fight as they just got locked down too much. But earlier on, it would have helped him push out the lanes a little bit more efficiently. Storm Spirit has that Orchid, picked it up at 19 minutes or so. I didn't see it really come into huge effect last fight, a little bit of amplified damage to clean up those last couple of kills, but that's about it. But now the Tinker cannot go anywhere safely on the map. He's going to have to try to because he's the only hero that can really farm with that Blink Dagger, but I don't know, it's not looking great as Slark picks himself up a Lincoln Sphere.
Yeah, but at this point, the only real hope for Central of Fear right now is this Tinker's. The Lone Druid, he's doing nothing. He's currently the 6th highest farmer in the game. He's better than the enemy supports, and that's basically it.
Yeah, pretty much. I don't know, this Tinker, I think the hope for Central of Fear is just HTV Turtle. They need to get all of their resources committed to defending their high ground and making sure this Lone Druid and Tinker are going to get stacked and get the items enough to where they can hopefully win a team fight with a beautiful combo. I think at this point they kind of need like the 5-man Earth Spike coming up from the line because that's pretty much all the AoE lockdown they have. Other than that, they have the arrow, and that's about all that neXt please care about. Yeah, I think, yeah.
I will say that I've been a little bit surprised of Central of Fear going for these early game pushes and team fights, just because they don't have the team fight advantage. As in, they don't really have the ganking advantage either, but it is slightly better for them that way. As in, with a Tide, with an Earthshaker, even with a Scarlet Mage to some extent, you're not going to win a team fight against them unless they make a mistake.
Yeah, I think Central of Fear just need to avoid teamfights at pretty much all costs, and that's kind of what the plan is from here on out as Viper picks himself up a 20-minute Midas. They want to take this game as late as possible, get the Viper and everybody absolutely stacked. In a theoretical situation where they have everybody 6-slot on the side of COF, potentially they could take some teamfights, but even then, at that point you're dealing with a Tidehunter double Ravage, Earthshaker with his Blink Initiation. COF just don't have a great way to start these fights or even counter-initiate. I just don't see them winning a 5-on-5 engagement.
Nope, their main strategy right now is try and rat and be annoying until about 40-50 minutes in, at which point the Tinker will eventually carry. Because no matter how bad a Tinker is going, he will eventually carry.
Even at 50 minutes in, however, I think that Central of Fear would need to be able to get a pick off before they're able to fight up against neXt please. But then again, they would have that opportunity once Tinker has his Scythe, Ethereal Blade, and Dagon. A 23-minute Midas coming out from Mirana, so just sticking with the plan here, I believe that is 3 Midases on the side of Central of Fear. Lone Druid's not pictured here as it is on his Spirit Bear for that extra attack speed. But yeah, it's just straight up Turtle.
Yeah, but all we need right now is just for the Tinker and the Lion to pick up Midases in between them, and that would be good enough. Just like all Midases, everyone. Even get a Midas on the Courier and keep swapping it out.
Yeah, for sure. Do that for the Tinker. I think he needs his slots, so yeah, just buy himself a personal courier to hold his Midas. Well, the Roshan is flirted at by neXt please, but eventually they will back out of the pit. I'd like to see them take a little bit more control over this map. With the heroes that they have, they could definitely exert dominance over the enemy side jungle. They do have a very deep Observer Ward, which I absolutely love coming out from them. But honestly, it's not really doing much for them. They'll catch eyes on the Viper, but without having heroes to punish this movement, Viper should be able to farm this.
Yeah, and I will say that I'm surprised how passive neXt please are playing. I understand that they're trying to go for the next set of items, and they've got Slog who's farming like a madman, and they've got Storm who also scales. But at the same time, they've won the last 2 or 3 team fights. They should be trying to take their advantage, because every moment they leave this is a moment they're giving the possibility of Keeper Central of Fear to come back as producing Storm Spirit is going to pick up Mirana right there.
Honestly, I have no idea what Mirana was doing there or how she got picked off. I was not looking as I was keeping eyes on the Slark. Red Light looking for this Lone Druid. TP just straight up from RNT. No way to cancel that. No Basher on Red Light. So that is going to be the cost of Scarlet Mage as well as Tidehunter. Say hello. And now this is better map positioning that I like coming out from neXt please. I don't know. Tinker is inside the trees. He needs to be careful though. They could definitely catch him out. Slark will need another item. I'd like to see him just go up for a straight up Basher into Abyssal next. I don't think Scotty's really going to cut it, especially after going back for the Lincoln Sphere. So I think just getting a way to cancel those TPs reliably and do more damage would be beneficial for Red Light.
And we do see they're going for this Roshan, and I like this move right now. Because at this point, Keeper of Light, I don't really think they can contest this.
Yeah, I don't know. The Roshan, it's not the fastest by any means, but they definitely can do it. Usually Roshan, not as much about the damage that you can put in the Roshan, but whether or not you'll be able to take it before the enemy reacts to it. And well, with their heroes, Central Fear just don't have a great way to contest. They have maybe one hero that could potentially throw a lockdown spell into the pit, but without a Blink Dagger, no way the Lion's doing that. And Storm Spirit picks himself up the Aegis. Honestly, I wouldn't mind having that on the Slark either, but I think both of these heroes are great Aegis carries, and Storm Spirit quite possibly the best one in the game. So, yeah, Yeah, definitely solid choices down in bottom. We're probably going to have a zip in on the line. Just look at him explode. Not even going to go anywhere. I don't know, Ball Lightning did the majority of that damage, I feel, with the Orchid on top of it. But yeah, BKB finished up by the Storm Spirit will deliver that. Now the tier 2 tower going to be under some heavy pressure.
Yeah, Bazin, I will say that Storm Spirit, there's nothing that Keeper like Central Fear can do right now against this Storm Spirit. As in, he's got a BKB on the way now, meaning that even the chance of lockdown is going to be going isn't there. And we're now seeing the push coming out. We're seeing the fact they've got the Aegis, they've got a BKB, they've got a huge farm advantage, so they've got to just use it and try and win the game right here, right now.
Honestly, I see no reason not to, with the exception of them not having a pipe. Honestly, I think once they have that in the Tide Hunter, that's their point to go zip in from the storm, not going to catch out anybody. But yeah, they might have to wait for the pipe before they can actually force high ground completely, and they will TP up top, looking for the Sloan Druid pick off. Blink Echo Slime committed on both the hero as well as the bear. Do they have enough lockdown? It gets rooted, but he's able to get the Fisher off in time. Scarlet Mage ulti going to be completely off the mark. No other way to cancel his TP, and he's going to be able to get out there. No! Scarlet Mage has enough nuke damage, and he will kill the Lone Druid. I thought he'd be able to get out there, but the Arcane Bolt did too much. It's the Lion in the enemy base. They're going to be able to get that kill, and now Noctis is locked down inside the leash. They don't have enough damage or no detection on the ground as both of the supports have been committed up top. So in the end, they will have to back off, but 2-0 across the map.
Yeah, because we are seeing this Keeper of Light team. They're just trying to hold on to the possibility of the Tinker being able to carry them. And the Tinker, he is farming, you know, okay. If it wasn't for the Slark, you know, being like, having all the money everywhere, then the Tinker wouldn't, you know, would be their possible way out. But right now, this Slark is getting dangerous. He's in that snowball zone, and it's going to be very difficult for Keeper of Light to hold on to the towers. As we do see Storm Spirit, it's going to pick up the double damage rune. Thought you picked up another kill there.
No, well, yeah, it is Central of Fear. Not sure why you keep on calling him Keeper of Light. I think that's the third time. You've corrected yourself multiple times, but I don't know. Where are you getting that from?
I spell Keeper with a C.
Fair enough, they can both make the K sound, I suppose. Well, Slark is going to be going for that Scotty next with the 2 ultimate orbs. He's also holding on to the gems from Mirana ultimate, not going to foil their plans of getting kills like it did in the bottom lane much longer. And I don't see this Slark dying, so I think he's a wonderful gem carrier, especially since the fact that he has his ability to detect those, wards coming out from Central of Fear with his ultimate. So he'll be able to D-ward very effectively on his own, especially if he just has the Scarlet Mage walking around with him. So yeah, I think this map controls just can completely dissolve coming up from Central for anything that they already had. Scotty's not all the way done, but once he sells his Magic Stick, he will have that completed. As I said, I'm not the biggest fan of this Scotty pickup. I think just going straight up aggressive would have been better. But it's going to offer a lot of great stats for this Slark, and is all around a scary pick. With the advantage that he has, he can definitely afford to do this.
Yeah, plus we do see a smoke gank coming in here on bottom, but at the same time, Viper kind of knows he can't go any further in this jungle, and the smoke's not going to find anyone for now. As if you just have a quick look at all the opposing team's wards, all of their wards are all very defensive. They're all just trying to keep any semi-balance of map control, although the arrow is going to rain out. It's not going to find anyone.
Oh, RNT caught up by the Fisher. No, it's not even necessary. The pounce as well as the zip in. He gets the BKB off on the Storm Spirit. Scarlet Mage ulti just wrecks the Mirana as well as the Lion are going to fall. I didn't actually see where the Lion fell. I think he was on top of the Lone Druid during all of that. But in the end, 3 kills given away for that smoke. Next, please, they're going to get themselves at least 1 tier 2 coming out from this.
Yep, I'm actually a little bit surprised these tier 2s are still standing, as just with the amount of teamfight push we're seeing coming out from Next, please. Like I'm saying, there's nothing Keeper of Light can do on this low ground. As in, these towers are basically free at the moment. Especially now with the pipe.
Yeah, well, with that pickup coming out from the Tide Hunter, it will be a lot easier to push up to the high ground. They don't have it just yet, and Storm Spirit actually eats a whole heck of a lot of damage from the March as well as the Rockets. But they have most of their teamfight tools, with the exception of the Echo Slam on the Earthshaker. Did have to use that in the last skirmish, so that's going to be down for 80 seconds. But still, the Fishers are going to be definitely good for Illusionist. But for now, it's going to be Sloan City wins the race for Next, please, as they go up top lane to get the last tier 2 standing in this game.
Yep, as once again, you know, just going up here, going to be pushing, and surprisingly enough, the Tinker is kind of keeping up in farm, but he's the only one who's really doing anything. The Viper actually not doing too badly, surprising. It's really mostly the Slark who's ahead in terms of farm, just giving him all of the last hits, and just with the amount of damage he's causing right now is what's causing a lot of the issues.
Arrow going to land on Illusionist, but no way to jump into that. That's jumping into a Tidehunter Ravage, as well as this Farm Slark and Storm Spirit with Aegis, so not gonna happen. As the pipe pop, they want to commit to the high ground. Now it's Red Light, jumps into the base. Huge zip in from the Storm Spirit. He finds out the line, and line's just going to be obliterated. And, well, not sure if they're going to be able to do this. There's no marches on the ground just yet. The Lone Druid has his bear here. The Scarlet Mage ult are going to be pretty much off the mark as Viper forced to pop his BKB, but will it even matter? Is he's just being focused down by the pure right clicks? Lincoln's has popped on the Slark, but they're going to be able to get the Viper. Now the Ravage comes out, mostly on the Lone Druid, but with the gem on the Slark, they can see everything, and RNT going to be focused down as well. Kiana's fairly low, but the dust popped. Oh, not sure if that was entirely necessary, but they'll just focus on this tower. They lose their Scarlet Mage, but in the end, yeah, tier 3 is as good as dead.
Now this Storm Spirit is going to have to be careful as the Aegis does get reclaimed in a few moments.
I think that's okay. He would have just thrown it away anyway with that low HP, so he'll just benefit from that extra regen. And I think they can still keep on going, especially now that they have Echo Slam available on Illusionist. Huge zip in from the Storm Spirit. He finds the Tinker out on the side of the trees, and now the arrow comes through. It's not going to land as that's a BKB Storm Spirit. Now he's back with a vengeance as Tinker is buying back. No chance of item progression for him as the tier 3 tower is just being chipped away at by Red Light. Next, please don't have the most explosive pushing lineup, but slowly but surely, I think they'll be able to get this if they get a couple more kills.
Who needs explosive pushing lineups when you're 12k ahead in terms of gold? The items are just so good, along with their picks. They've just got... There's no way that Kibra Light can really stop them. This Tinker's trying his best, and his March Machines is annoying, but it can only do so much.
Yep, I don't know. It's pretty much, yeah, just that. They can't really repel this. For now, their high ground is defended, and, yeah. I don't know, Slark with this Basher, however, is going to make it very difficult for them to counteract this, especially since he has a Lincoln Sphere on top of that. The sights coming out from the Tinker really aren't going to bother him that much. And while Tinker, with the Sight device, is not going to be carrying this game for at least another 15 minutes before he's able to get up his next damage item, presumably the Dagon or Ethereal Blade. I don't know, I would have liked to see Tinker go for Dagon 1 into Ghost Scepter instead, just to have that extra damage in these team fights, but they desperately need Lockdown. Honestly, this Tinker needs another 2 items on top of it.
Yeah, this Tinker needs a lot more farm. He can't be the 3rd highest farmer in the game. He needs to be the highest, and with this slot, just look at how much farm he has. I know I keep saying it, but you know, this is not a hero we usually consider it to be a farming hero, and it's not like he's just been AFK farming through the entire game. He's been ganking, he's been involved in team fights. He did get a casual Midas at 12 minutes in with boots and a Quillis ring, but at the same time, this is amazing farm coming out from him.
Yeah, this is a 10, 1, and 12 Slark with a 7-minute Midas and 211 last hits. Compared to the Tinker's 204, he's farming faster than Tinker anyway. Like, this Slark is... This is your ideal Slark game. Snowbally hero by nature, and he's definitely doing so.
And meanwhile, though, there is still that risk of the Tinker being able to bring things back. He has been not having the greatest game. He had a good start, but after that, just constantly getting ganked by the explosive lineup of neXt meant that he's never really had the chance or the space to farm up as much as he wants. Just look how defensive the entirety of Central Fear have to play.
Yeah, all of the ultimates are online for neXt, please. If this team fight breaks out and they're too clumped up, this could be over incredibly fast. They have a good spread right now. Lone Druid and Marauder are a little bit too close, and Slarky's jumping in. He fans the Tinker. The Lycan Sphere will be popped, but the Tinker's going to fall. He doesn't have buyback available. The Ravage comes out. Doesn't land on a lot of heroes, only the Lone Druid, really, as the Slark is now focused down the Viper, and GG called out as Echo Slam is able to finish off the line as well as the Marana. And now it's just cleanup crew.
Yeah, that just wasn't happening as they tried to hold on, but after losing that team fight, they were losing at least 1 set of racks and probably going to lose at least 2. And so that was game number 1, a pretty dominating display coming out from neXt.
Honestly, I think if Central Fear were able to have a different draft and didn't prioritize the Tinker as much, they would have definitely been in a lot of a better position, because once you show the Tinker, that's pretty much showing your hand as far as what you want to do. As you mentioned in the draft, certain teams can get away with that if you have a team that's built around it, but it just doesn't feel like Central Fear are really built around playing that play style. They weren't able to really avoid the fights, and if you want to fight head-on, pick something more along the lines of neXt Please's lineup. Get something hyper-aggressive that can fight consistently in those team fights. That said, there is going to be a game 2 coming up shortly. We've been HeflaTV here on HeflaTV 2 with Grandis V as well as Baneshee. You can follow us on our English channels at HeflaTV 1 and 2, and also twitch.tv Heflamoke as the 3rd English channel. So don't go anywhere. More Dota coming up soon.